25 years. Here's to think people call it a fad. And all those years ago. How it's gone from um, merely a subculture, millennials to who pop culture the world over for multi-generation fans, and so to speak, it's definitely has grown and changed into something that has definitely become huge. So as you can tell, yesterday, by the time you see this, we'll have had the Pokemon Presents stream, which definitely it was a start of celebration of the of the 25th anniversary of the series. So you can tell I'm so excited I can barely speak about this. So it's definitely going to be a an eventful year, especially with apart from like a sizzle reel of other other details. There were three major points I'll be addressing here. So let's get it started. So let's start with the one that's coming out soonest, new Pokemon Snap, which alongside Resident Evil 8 is easily my most anticipated title of quarter two, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's keep focused on this series and game for now, which expands on detail, which not only I'm gonna keep, even though it goes over some of the other details, hails about what happened. Again, I was expecting that we'd just be seeing characters from the original game and being reworked, as well as the concepts that we have instead, like putting new applications towards them, and especially liking the gameplay, how they're pushing that. I mean, I totally called it how the digital age is definitely a time as well suited for this game to come back. And like it might be able to recreate that same raw feeling about getting your best shots, and like you could like doing it the old-fashioned way by actually taking your N64 carts to Blockbuster and printing them out physically. Yes, folks, I'm old enough to remember what Blockbuster is, and I live in a state which has the last one ever, especially given how I remember the first and last things were rented from them before they became only a memory. But again, I also can tell that the scoring system, how they're doing that, is something much more elaborate than simply getting it in the middle of a frame, and getting it based on a certain pose. I mean, it's also still true, but also kind of liking that it can do it under certain conditions that cater different star ratings as well. I mean, since I'll definitely have plenty more time to discuss these. Given how it's now just over 2 months away for it launching, and hopefully be able to come in some money soon to get that one, because I'll let you know right away that all three of the titles I was going to be discussing and saying in this video are going to be day one purchases, so including the next two for very obvious reasons. So second is arguably the worst kept secret of the last couple generations or so. In fact, based on the patterns of previous ones, I often suggested that the question was less if and rather when this would happen. And well, looks like we finally have our answer here to when. After 15 years, we're finally getting our Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, and even though, as someone who was not on board with the idea of farming them out to someone else, I'm actually liking the approach you're taking. Yes, folks, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl are coming out later this year here to the Switch, and much like how the original games definitely helped tip the series into a new direction when they came out on the Nintendo DS. Yes, in Japan 2006, and then they came stateside a year later in 2007. I was kind of liking how the approach of taking is familiar yet still fresh has a way. I mean, and the gameplay it looked like to be similar to pick up and play, but also to truly master. And it's going to be developed by Ilka, a series first for the main series games. They're the company that developed like the Pokemon Home app, both on mobile and the Nintendo Switch. As it turns out, they've also, at least according to Moby Games, have done development work for other titles, including ones as varied as Metal Gear Rising: Vengeance and Yakuza 0 and Nier Automata. So they're definitely not who I would have expected, but they're at least qualified. They also developed that the odious as PS4 Godzilla game, as well as Code Vein, but I'll not hold that against them. Especially since I've just before, and it bears repeating, that remaking any video game, more so than remaking a movie or TV show, is often a crapshoot, as is handing off to a developer. Like, for everyone that works like Metroid Prime trilogy and Retro Studios, fingers crossed about Metroid Prime 4, her development progressing. And there's ones like the infamous DMC Devil May Cry and Team Ninja, which ended up doing so badly that they took 8 years to make another main game, which directs the first 4 of the Northern events of DMC. Heck, actually, I'm not even the biggest Devil May Cry fan, but I just like that one so much that not only do I consider the experiment a failure despite the attempts otherwise, but actually physically say out Devil May Cry because I don't even like saying the acronym. Yeah, but I actually think the game should be pretty fun. As someone who mainly based on Platinum, I'm definitely going to be basing a very interesting perspective, because that's the upper word here, perspective. This should still be faithful remakes, but hopefully, I will say this. I'm probably going to be making a different wish list for these ones. I'll do the Legends Arceus and wait, that's too much. I'll do the next one, and also the other game on this list. But I actually like the art direction, and I don't buy none of the arguments people making. I think that art direction works for each one for different reasons, and this one reminds me a lot of Link's Awakening, which I had a couple years back I rather enjoyed. I mean, it's, I'm just gonna say it, an evolution of the designs of the original DS game. And much like how in the June reboot they're working on the people for the book, a lot of elements are evolution designs from the David Lynch version. So yeah, these are easily going to be like a day one purchase for me. They're already accepting pre-orders, but I'm going to wait until I have an official release date. And depending on what happens, whether or not we move soon, I'm hoping I'm going to try and get the twin pack again, like I do with Generation 8. Whether or not I get the Steelbook, actually, will depend on what the store's offering. So here we go. Last, but definitely not least is basically their way of saying, and now for something completely different. Rather than a sequel or just an Arceus episode like some people are speculating, which I don't, as I emphasized, I do not do. There's actually something we're getting a prequel and a whole other game, which is set in the same region but has a different approach to it. And with Game Freak working on a new title for early 2022, and also they're hinting at they might be the first one, Generation 9, Pokemon Legends Arceus, which takes place in the Sinnoh region, but not only is it centuries before the other Diamond and Pearl games take place, but potentially the entire series as we know it. I mean, and open world experience definitely as a concept, which basically is taking like the wild areas they had and expanding them even further. That's basically what I felt. I didn't want them to just in that. I wanted them to keep building upon it. I mean, and some of my associates objected to this idea, but I supported it because the foundation there is stable. And since and not only do player characters look like the ancestors of Diamond and Pearl, or if you prefer Lucas and Dawn, you actually have different starters which still have a similar taste, but again they had brought Cyndaquil from Johto, Oshawa from Unova, insert Unova confirmed joke here, and also Rowlet from Alola. I mean, so naturally, some of the most popular starters of those regions, and I submit that if I borrow a paraphrase of Flash, Sinnoh was the key he he to completing this, because I've argued this before and I'm repeating again. Sometimes I think a game is more than the monsters decks. It's the experiences we have, and the journeys we partake, the legends we end up being a part of. And I also have no objection to the approach they're taking, thinking wanting to oh, imbue each part of it with a different expansion universe, and it makes sense when you do this. I mean, there was a time where I took a break from the series for 6 years, but then I got back into it, and now it's been a longer time than that. So I'd say it's time for the division to end. I mean, well, since I'm very much open to what lies ahead, and especially once it comes in early 2022, alongside Splatoon 3, well, looks like I know what I'm doing for my 30th, so that'll be all for now. And I hope to bring you more information on this stuff as it comes available. So, train on.